Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What's going on, guys? It is TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL edition, Week 11. With me, as always, is the fine citizen, Mr. Jacob Workman. Jake, how's it going, brother?
Everything's good. What's going on?
Not too much, man. Not too much. Moving right along into our season. Jake finished last week at 6-8. Missed the lock with the Rams. Hit his dog with the Steelers. Record for the year 79-71. So still sitting above 500. I finished 7-7. I hit my lock with the Chargers, and I hit my first dog of the season with the Steelers. So that's cool. Or horrible, depending on how you look at it. I'm 71-79 for the season, so a little bit further behind there. No updates on Vegas this week. There wasn't anything too sexy there. It was kind of a lackluster week on both sides, so we're just going to jump right into it. Let's kick things off with the game of the week in the Lions-Texans game. Lions beat the Texans on the back of the brick salesman and Houston native Jake Bates, who drilled 58 and 52-yard field goals to seal the 26-23 comeback victory for the Fighting Dan Campbells. Detroit went into halftime down 23-7 after multiple quickly stalled drives and 3 turnovers from quarterback Jared Goff. Third quarter was possibly the most eventful quarter of the season, as 15 minutes resulted in 8 possessions, good for 4 interceptions, 3 punts, and a touchdown. Detroit turned it on when it counted those. The defense held Houston to 2 punts and a missed field goal in the final quarter while putting 13 on the board, the last of which was a 52-yard field goal from Bates as time expired. That was a mouse fart away from bouncing off the left goal post, but it did go in. That win makes the Detroit Lions' 7th straight victory, moves them to 8-1, the second best record in the league behind only the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. Jake, what were your thoughts on the game? Big one.
Crazy game. Obviously, it's a game that any time in the past, with the exception of last year, we would have lost. Just mad props to the defense. Those guys played their asses off in that game. When it mattered, the offense came through, got down the field. Bates, he's been money all year. He hasn't missed a field goal yet, I don't think. I know he has missed, I believe, an extra point, but I don't think he's missed a field goal all year. I mean, those two, Jesus God, neither one of them had an inch to spare and he hit both sides, the right side and the left side, barely snuck them both in. I'm not a stats guy, so Goff's picks, whatever. I mean, he threw picks, great. We won the game. Like, I don't give a shit. I've never been a stats person. To me, they do not matter at all. If you want to throw them in as something for awards, okay, cool. I'm for that. But games don't matter. Stats can show a story just like any percentages can show any story. It doesn't really matter. You can make them show what they want. When the game mattered, he got us down the field. Jameson Williams came back with 2 huge catches. One, I still don't know how he caught. He bobbled it, got smoked by 2 guys, and still held on to it, and was a crucial play. Just overall, hats off to the Lions. Like, that's not a game that they usually win.
Yeah.
On the road, pretty big. And the Lions fans traveled pretty well. There were a lot of blue in that crowd also, like normal, but still a tough environment in Houston. And to be able to go in and come back and just, I was shocked. But when Bates came on the field at the end, I had no doubt in my mind it was going in. Like, he's just been that, especially from distance. Like, I think I've said earlier, like, I trust him more from 60 than I do from 30. Like, he's a deep kicker, and he's good.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, and just overall, 8-1. Like, it's tough to hate. Zadarius Smith is on the team. He was a huge cheerleader on the sideline. He was coaching up guys on the sideline. Very cool thing what Dan Campbell did. Zadarius has a house in Florida. He hadn't even been able to go there to check on it because of hurricane damage and stuff, because he's been with the Browns. This was the Browns bye week. So Dan Campbell did let him still honor the bye week, even though Zadarius wanted to play. So it was pretty cool by Dan Campbell. And actually a lot of agents came out and were talking about how it was such a cool thing that, like, that's actually something that will draw players to go there even more, just because he's a player's coach and that's the type of atmosphere they've built. And it's crazy to like look at Twitter and just see what's being said about the Lions. Like, it's almost insane to even think it can be real life. But with the way the Chiefs won, the way the Lions won, I still think we're kind of destined for the Chiefs and Lions this year, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a fun Super Bowl if that what happens. Parroting off a lot of what you said here, huge shout out to that Lions defense. Goff obviously had an ugly game, but I think one of the things that to your point, that doesn't show up on stat sheets is that Goff has short-term memory loss in the best of ways as a quarterback. That those 5 interceptions could have had him in his head and he could have had a horrible game, but instead, he showed up when it mattered and got you guys in a position to be able to win the football game. And that's all you can ask for out of a quarterback. Love the fact that Zadarius Smith was on the sidelines. I think they caught him at one point, or maybe it was after the game when they were talking to him a little bit. Like he was out there actively coaching that defense, talk to them about like how they were reading what was happening and to listen to the calls and things like that, which is great. That defense, man, held Texans scoreless in the second half. The rushing attack for the Texans and Mixon's had a solid season, and obviously Stroud's potentially dangerous on the ground. You guys held him to 56 total yards and got 4 sacks and 2 picks. I mean, just lights out football from the Detroit Lions. Without question, the best team in the NFC. Chiefs are getting better and they're getting healthier. So I definitely think that this is going to be one of those situations where, barring something crazy happening, both of these teams are getting tested and coming out on top in close games, which is what you want to see during the regular season to get you prepared for those kind of playoff games. I love it. And then the fact that Jake Bates got to get a win in his hometown, like you can't write that stuff, man. That's movie script stuff.
You imagine the just pure horse assery of play calling we would see in the Super Bowl of Andy Reid and Ben Johnson, and what would be, oh my God, can you imagine?
Yeah, watching Ben Johnson go up against Spags is going to be a hell of a lot of fun if that's what happens. I don't want to jinx it, but
just the play calling, like it would be such wild shit that you would see.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun if that's what happens. In two great fan bases. I mean, obviously the Chiefs have been winning for a while, but Chiefs fans can be a lot more arrogant than what they are. I don't really know a Chiefs fan that's like annoying about how much they've been winning lately. And then you've got Detroit fans. I mean,
taking over every stadium in the NFL.
If any franchise deserves a win, it's good stuff to see.
Well, so, and that's kind of where a lot of my, like, what was huge with that win to me is like, we're obviously there's still time to go, but we're 2 home playoff games right now away. Like in my mind, like to me right now, the playoffs are going through Ford Field. Like we're in pretty good shape. I know Philly and who the hell's the other one? Philly and
Washington.
Washington. Yeah. And I think Washington's going to die down a little bit too. Philly, I'd have to look at their schedule to know the upcoming, but I just really like the chances of this playoff going through Ford Field. And man, you see what we do on the road. Oh my God. And the playoff games at home last year, like when the Rams were there and the Bucks were there, were insane. If we can get an NFC championship game at home, oh my God. Like I can't even fathom the craziness that would be going on in that stadium.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun. Let's talk about an NFC North team that's on the opposite side of that equation. The Chicago Bears have fired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron 9 games into his first season with the team after their 19-3 loss against the Patriots in Chicago on Sunday. Thomas Brown's been promoted to the offensive coordinator role. Eberflus came out earlier in the week and said that they were looking at everything up and down and that there were going to be changes coming. Obviously, it looks like Waldron has been the scapegoat for this. Get your thoughts on this, but in my opinion, this is pretty embarrassing for the Chicago franchise. You have a rookie franchise quarterback in a history of rotating carousel of coaches that clearly are detrimental to QB development, because we've already seen what happened with Justin Fields when he was there. Instead of bringing in a new coach staff, you keep a lame duck coach so that no offensive coordinator would want to go to Chicago, because they know very well that if they don't play very well in their first year with a rookie quarterback, they're all going to get fired. So nobody wanted to go to Chicago. So they sign Waldron and then fire him 9 games into the season. Like I just getting him the Tepper treatment. We talked about the Tepper treatment in the college show. Like you can't give any coach 9 games and expect them to be able to do anything with a team, especially that's brought in this many new pieces. This just like the Bears franchise, man. I mean, the Bears are the Jets of the NFC right now, in my opinion. It's a mess.
Yeah, and if you remember when we did our picks, like so I was very low on the Bears. Like I was like, this team, they have too many issues. Their offensive line's not good. They have no running back. I said, you can't just be Caleb Williams and some good receivers, especially a few older receivers that have been hurt throughout the year, just like they have every other year of their career. But something that actually really struck me today on Pat McAfee's show. So Waldron was in Seattle last year, and there was a kind of like an exit interview. It was like a podcast, and Jackson Smith and Jigba was on the podcast, receiver from Ohio State that now plays for Seattle. So he was under Waldron, and they asked him what Bears fans should expect from Waldron, and the answer was priceless. Like he sat there for like 15 seconds and didn't say a word. And then he was just like, I mean, they've good luck to him. Like he gave him like no, like, and it was right then when you're like, oh God, like that's bad. And then I mean, you can't ruin. Caleb Williams is good. Like I don't care what people say about him. I watched him at USC. He's unbelievable. Like he is going to be good. Bears fans have to also really hate. All the rumors are out that Ben Johnson wanted the Bears job last year. So you just have to be and to me, Ben Johnson's kind of a spiteful guy. You can tell. And he might be like no, you wronged me. Fuck you. I'm not going there now. I mean, if I was the Bears, I would be throwing just an absolute ungodly amount of money at him. And I hope to God he doesn't end up at the Bears because one, I don't think you can even win there right now because the rest of the division is so good. And they have too many missing pieces. So, I mean, even Ben Johnson's not going to go in there. I mean, that O-line is terrible. They have no running game. So there's a lot you've got to rebuild immediately before he can do what he wants to do. So I don't know what the answer is in Chicago, but I think the whole staff is going to be fired soon. I'm actually surprised they didn't go ahead and just fire them all now. But I guess maybe to try to help Caleb throughout the year, they thought we'll keep some sort of consistency with the head coach, but I don't know. It's not looking good in Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, if they can't protect him, then like at what point do you say like, let's put Tyson out there and just, it's not a situation where you're benching him because of his play, but they can't protect him. Like Caleb gets hit.
Yeah, a lot.
I'm pretty sure he's like one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now, as far as taking hits in the backfield. And the other thing that's interesting is like we talk about their run game. The best player on the team right now is DeAndre Swift. Like from a statistics standpoint,
that's bad. Yeah,
that's bad when DeAndre is the best player on your team. Yeah, it's rough sledding right now in Chicago. I hope for Caleb's career they figure it out, but also to your point, the NFC North is not a fun division to move into as a new head coach, even with Caleb Williams as your piece at quarterback. You've got 3 other teams that are very good, that have talent on that team, and they all have more talent than what Chicago has. So it's going to be tough for them to get, I think, a solid head coach going into next year, assuming they, for some reason, keep Eberflus, which I don't see happening, but.
Yeah, their off season is going to be probably the most interesting to watch when it comes to any team, just because, I mean, they have what coaches want going in. I mean, they have the young quarterback on the young contract where they can spend a lot of money, bring guys in, but who the hell is going to want to go there? Like, I just don't see people wanting to go there. I don't care who the coach is. I don't see guys wanting to go there. So and honestly, if they were to hire Ben Johnson, to me, the only people that are want to go there would be like receivers, and they already have those. So it's like, I don't know. Like I just feel like they're in a really tough situation.
Yeah, it's not good in Chicago right now. All right, let's move on to a couple other things here. Uncle Lenny is looking to land on a new team as Leonard Fournette's worked out for the Bengals on Monday. Reports are that they have chosen not to sign him, but he is trying to land on a team. Free agent cornerback Xavier Howard also visited the Bengals on Monday, and the team actually offered him a contract, but the reports are that he declined it. They just couldn't come to an agreement. NFL is looking to have a total of 8 international games in 2025. They will include Spain, Mexico, Brazil, England, Germany, and possibly Ireland. So they are expanding their international reach. I think it's only a matter of time before we see one of these teams like a Jacksonville move over to England or one of these other international areas. which will be interesting to see how they handle the travel on that. But they are expanding their games to 8 international games next year. NFL Thanksgiving Day games will feature Shabuzi, Lane Wilson, and Lindsey Sterling as halftime performers. Call me old because I don't listen to music really that's been made post 2004. I have no idea who Shabuzi or Lindsey Sterling is.
Oh my!
I kind of know who Lane Wilson is.
It's Laney.
Yeah, well, there you go. I have no damn idea who these people are.
Shabuzi. I just hope we can
get the name.
I hope we can get a real fucking stage this year on Ford Field. That white ground that they put out for Jack Harlow last year was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. So
yeah,
let's hope that Shabuzi can get a little bit of a stage. He does have one of the biggest hit songs in music right now. So it would be nice if maybe we could get a little bit of a stage, because that Jack Harlow last year was about as good as the game was when Jordan Love was just raping our mothers. So
respect to Shabuzi. I apologize that I don't know who you are, but maybe I've heard the song, sure. And I just don't know the music. Yeah. All right. Hold on to your butts, Giants fans. The tide may finally be changing. For the first time this season, head coach Brian Daboll was non-committal on Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback moving forward. You may see a change at guard here starting next week, potentially after the team lost in overtime to the Carolina Panthers last Sunday.
These guys don't look too fucking good.
Yeah, we should have played that during the Bears game too, or during the Bears commentary. We're going to talk about another team in 2 comments here too. You can play that again. Saints wide receiver Chris Olave has been placed on IR. He's going to be out at least for the next 4 weeks with a concussion. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is officially out for the season with an injured hamstring after specialist he saw on Monday not only confirmed his injury, but said that it's worse than they thought. So buckle up, Cowboys fans. We're going to have Cooper Rush or Trey Lance under center for the rest of the season. Linebacker Demarion Overshone is now also dealing with bursitis in his right knee. X-rays did come back negative. It doesn't appear to be a significant injury, but I think he may be questionable for the game against Houston. Not that it matters. Bucks left tackle Tristan Wirfs has been diagnosed with an MCL sprain and is expected to miss a couple weeks. Go ahead with your comment about the Cowboys.
I want to get back to the Cowboys real quick. How fucking hilarious was it? The all the stuff happened with the sun coming through the window.
Oh my God.
Jerry's dumbass comment about what do you want us to do? Build a brand new stadium. And then the very next day at Mike McCarthy's press conference, they've got a shade there to block the sunshade. Cover his face.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you the whole story of the 2024 Dallas Cowboys, oh my God, I was dying.
Oh my awesome. God. That's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, we have a hole in the drywall. You want me to just to burn down the fucking house and rebuild the whole thing? Like, what kind of dumbass comment is that? Not to mention the fact CeeDee Lamb very clearly had a wide open fucking touchdown in that game and missed it wide open because he couldn't see the goddamn ball.
So there's 2 things. One, he even said that he couldn't see it and that it was a factor. And then Jerry also said that in that press conference, he also said something about how like teams aren't affected by it and teams don't care and stuff like that. Ben Johnson in the scouting report when we played Dallas at Dallas had a whole specific thing about when the sun comes through there and how we should be playing the other direction during certain times of the quarters based on that because of the sun on the field. I'm like, if our offensive coordinator knows that, surely to fucking God, the owner of the team should know that. Like, that's crazy.
He doesn't care, dude. Like,
it's so bad.
It's a mess. And it's not going to get any better anytime soon because we threw way too much money at Dak.
Yes. That was to me, that was the biggest mistake. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah. It's part of me wants Jaunty. Like, I hope that we get a pick that gets us in a place to be able to get him because we need a running back. But on the other side of the equation, like, I don't want him to go there and throw his career away because we're not going to have any money to spend. We have to whatever. I'm not getting into this. I'm not going to run the whole damn show.
It's going to be bad.
Jesus Christ. Woosah. Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence, at least I'm not a Jags fan, is dealing with a significant AC joint sprain in his left shoulder. Could miss some time. Vikings running back Aaron Jones is day-to-day with a rib injury, but the team's optimistic he'll be good to go for Sunday's game versus the Titans. And Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen has been activated off IR and is immediately wide receiver 1 because he's one of only like 3 receivers left.
He is the only receiver. Yeah.
Yeah. Him and Leggett, who is a pure joy to listen to anytime he says anything. So that's at least Panthers fans have this big Xavier. All right, guys, let's hop into it here. Week 11. Our Thursday night matchup is an NFC East matchup as the 7-3 Washington Commanders head to Philly up I-95 to play the 7-2 Philadelphia Eagles. 8:15 p.m. kickoff at Lincoln Financial Field on Amazon Prime. Commanders hit the road after a 28-27 loss to the Steelers, while the Eagles return home looking for their 6th straight victory after a 28-point win over the Cowboys in Dallas. Over under 48.5. Philly is favored by 3.5.
Yeah, I know the Eagles fans hate their head coach, even though he's winning. It makes no sense to me. I'm going to go with Philly here, minus the 3.5 at home.
Yeah, this should be a fun competitive game as much as I dislike both of these franchises, but I'm going to go with Washington here plus the points to keep it within 3. The first of our Sunday matchups features the 2-8 Jacksonville Jaguars as they head to Motor City to face off against the 8-1 Detroit Lions, 1 p.m. at Ford Field on CBS. Jacksonville hits the road looking to avoid their 4th straight loss after a 5-point defeat at the hands of the Minnesota Vikings in Jacksonville, while the Lions return home looking for their 8th straight victory after a crazy come-from-behind 3-point win over the Texans in Houston. 47.5 over under. Detroit is favored by 13.5.
Man, that's a spread. And in the NFL, you don't see too many 13.5s. God, I almost want to take Jacksonville just for the pure fact of how many points that is, but I think we're rolling. I think it would be crazy if we don't win this one by 14, 2 touchdowns. So I'm going Lions at home with the huge spread.
Yeah,
and also to me, this has got to be an over game. Like 47.5 seems a little low.
Yeah, Detroit may score 47. Jacksonville's a mess. I'm taking Detroit here minus the points. Next up, we have NFC North showdown as the 6-3 Green Bay Packers head to the Windy City to battle the 4-5 Chicago Bears. 1 p.m. at Soldier Field on Fox. Green Bay's coming off a bye week. They are 4-1 in their last 5. While the Bears look to avoid their 4th straight loss after a 16-point defeat at the hands of the New England Patriots in Chicago. 40.5 is the over-under. Green Bay is favored by 5.5.
Yeah, this is one of the few games during the year where I'm rooting for the Bears, but I don't have much faith in them, so I will be taking Green Bay minus 5.5.
Yeah, Green Bay coming off a bye. Chicago's another team that's a mess. I'm going to take the Pack here to win and cover. Next up, the 4-5 Los Angeles Rams head to Foxborough to take on the 3-7 New England Patriots. 1 p.m. at Gillette Stadium on Fox. LA hits the road after a 23-15 Monday Night Football loss to the Dolphins in Inglewood, while the Patriots return from Chi-Town with another win under their belt after beating the Bears 19-3. What are we looking at here? 44.5 over under. The Rams are favored by 4.5.
I mean, short week, road spot, playing at 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. Their time. I'm on New England here plus the 4.5.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one. I just think the Rams will be able to potentially put some pressure on Drake May. If they win the turnover battle, that'll result in a W. I'm going to go with the Rams here to win and cover, but this is not a game that I would bet on. Next, we have the 2-7 Cleveland Browns heading south to the Big Easy to take on the 3-7 New Orleans Saints. 1 p.m. kickoff at Caesars Superdome on Fox. Cleveland returns from their bye. They are a 1-4 in their last 5, while the Saints stay in New Orleans and are looking for their 2nd straight win after a 3-point victory over the visiting Atlanta Falcons. 44.5 over under. Saints are favored by 1.5.
Yeah, the Saints got their bump last week with the new head coach, the Rizzler. I think that I think that was the I think that was their bump. I mean, the man's doing press conferences talking about clogging toilets before the game. Like if he's not the Rizzler, that was a sensational debut. So we've got a man talking about clogging toilets against Jameis. So, I mean, we've got just a motivational speech matchup waiting to happen here. Jameis returning to the dome he's been in the last few years. I will be taking Jameis in the Browns to win this game outright.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm going with Famous Jameis to get the road W here against his former team, the Rizzler. I love it. It's so good. Next up, we have the 7-2 Minnesota Vikings as they head to Nash Vegas to face off against the 2-7 Tennessee Titans, 1 p.m. at Nissan Stadium on CBS. Minnesota continues their road trip after a 5-point victory over the Jaguars in Jacksonville, while the Titans return to Nashville after a 10-point loss at the hands of the LA Chargers in Inglewood. 40.5 is the over-under. Minnesota is favored by 5.5.
I think it's too much. I've kind of I like Tennessee. Obviously, you got to prepare for what bonehead ass play Levis is going to make during the game, but I like Tennessee in this one, and it wouldn't surprise me if they don't sneak out a win here. I'm really hoping they come through with a win for us, but I do think Tennessee will cover that.
Yeah, Vikes got an ugly win over Jacksonville last week. Now they're heading to their next AFC South foe. Darnold's going to need to clean up the picks, but the Titans are just one of the worst teams in the league in turnovers, which bodes well for Minnesota. They tend to feast off of that, so I'm going to go Vikings to win and cover. Up next, the 4-6 Indianapolis Colts hit the road to East Ruff to battle the 3-7 New York Jets. 1 p.m. kickoff at MetLife Stadium on CBS. Indianapolis hits the road looking to avoid their 4th straight loss after the Bills beat them by 10 in Indy, while the Jets return home from a 31-6 loss to the Cardinals in Arizona and are 1-4 in their last 5. Over under is 43.5. Spread is Jets by 3.5. And before we get your pick here, I don't know if you saw the free AR5 signs that were at the Colts game, but apparently security was going around and taking them away from the fans.
God.
I reached out to we talked about the Rizzler. I reached out to the Riddler, Big Adam Ridley, to see if that was true or not, because he works the games. I don't think I heard back from him, but interesting if they've got security going and confiscating free AR5 signs.
Yeah, I think we have a soundbite for this game.
These guys don't look too fucking good.
This is the NFL equivalent of the Bad Boys Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. This is just terrible. Like, I don't give a flying fuck about this game. I don't think the Jets can beat anyone right now. I don't know. Like, these teams are bad. I think the Colts are better than the Jets. Obviously, it's a road spot. If 3.5 to me is too many. If the Jets win, I think it's by 3. I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, I agree with you. Both these teams are hot garbage. The Jets have been playing better at home. But I'm with you. Like, I don't see them winning any game by more than 3 points. And with this being 3, I'm with you. I'm gonna take the Colts to cover. I don't know if they're gonna get the win, but I think they keep it within 3. All right. Next up, the 2-7 Las Vegas Raiders head to South Beach to go up against the 3-6 Miami Dolphins. 1 p.m. at Hard Rock Stadium on CBS. Vegas is coming off a bye week and is looking to avoid their 6th straight loss, while the Dolphins return to Miami, looking to get things back on track after an 8-point win over the Rams in Monday Night Football last night. 44.5 is the over-under. Spread is Miami by 7.5.
Yeah, this one's tough for me too. Short week, returning back home. That spread it seems a little much, but the Raiders offense is also so terrible. But the Raiders D, I think, could cause them some trouble. This one's tough for me. I don't like this line at all. I'm going to go Dolphins, I guess. I hate this pick, though. I don't like this game at all.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the pick either. I wish this were 6.5. I'd be a little bit more comfortable going with Miami. I'm still going to go Miami. The Raiders are 3-0 against the spread in games where they're more than 7 points as the underdog, but I just have a feeling Tua is going to be another week back. Maybe they can get the offense going a little bit. I know this is a tough defense, but I am going to go Miami at home to win and cover. Big game here next. AFC North showdown. 7-3 Baltimore Ravens are heading to the Berg to take on the 7-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. 1 p.m. kickoff at Acrisure Stadium on CBS. Baltimore hits the road and looks to make it 3 straight after a 1-point win over the Cincinnati Bengals at home last Thursday, while Pittsburgh returns to Steel City and are looking for their 5th straight victory after their own 1-point win against the Commanders in Washington on Sunday. 48.5 over under. Baltimore is favored by 3.
Yeah, this is going to be probably one of the better games of the day, outside of Chiefs Bills. But God, Pittsburgh being at home is the only thing that gets me here. Like, Russ is playing well. God, this one's a tough one for me. I'm going to, man. Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers plus the 3 on their home field here. This might be a push, honestly, but I think I'm going to go with Steelers plus 3. This is a tough one. I don't like either side here because I think both teams are really good.
Yeah, this is going to be a very competitive game. The thing to consider here for me is that Lamar Jackson's 1-3 against the Steelers as a starter, and this is arguably the best Steelers team that he's faced. Steelers at home and getting points. I like it. So I'm going to go Pitt here, and I think they may get the outright win. The first of our 4 p.m. games is an NFC West showdown as the 4-5 Seattle Seahawks head south to Golden Gate Country to face off against the 5-4 San Francisco 49ers. 4:05 p.m. kickoff at Levi Stadium on Fox. Seattle returns from a bye week. They are 1-4 in their last 5 and looking to avoid 3 straight losses, while San Fran returns home after a 3-point win over the Bucks in Tampa. 49.5 over under. San Francisco is favored by 6.5.
Yeah, another week getting a few guys back for the Niners. I do like San Francisco at home in this one. I'm going to take them minus the 6.5.
Yeah, I've talked about it a couple times this year. I really like the Seattle team. I've kind of adopted them as the second team that I'm rooting for. Unfortunately for them, they're running into a San Francisco team that is getting healthy and good timing with that. I don't know that this is going to be as big of a victory as the first meeting, but I am going to take San Fran here to win and cover. Next up, we have the 6-4 Atlanta Falcons heading to the Rockies to take on the 5-5 Denver Broncos. 4:05 p.m. kickoff at Empower Field at Mile High on Fox. Atlanta continues their road trip and looks to shake off a 3-point loss to the Saints in New Orleans, while the Broncos return home looking to avoid 3 straight losses after a 2-point defeat at the hands of the Chiefs in Kansas City. 44.5 over under. Denver is favored by 2.5 at home.
Yeah, I like Denver's defense at home to be able to get this one done. I'm going to take them minus the 2.5.
Yep, I'm with you. I am on Denver minus the points. Last of our 4 p.m. matchups is another big one here. As the 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs head to Orchard Park to battle the 8-2 Buffalo Bills. 4:25 p.m. kickoff at Highmark Stadium on CBS. Kansas City remains the only undefeated team left after a 2-point win over the visiting Denver Broncos, while the Bills are looking for their 6th straight win as they return home from our 10-point victory over the Colts in Indy. 45.5 over under. Buffalo is favored by 1.5.
Chiefs have pretty much owned the Bills. They're an underdog, which gives Andy Reid even more motivation. Bills are going to be without Keon Coleman again. I don't understand how the Chiefs are not favored in this game. I will be taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I don't even know if Amari Cooper is going to be fully healthy. He sat out last week because of his wrist injury.
Mm-hmm.
So between him and Keon Coleman being out, I mean, keeping it simple here, I'm never turning down a chance to take KC and points.
Right.
So I am going to take Kansas City here to get the outright win is what I think is going to happen. Our Sunday night football matchup features the 4-6 Cincinnati Bengals as they head to Inglewood to take on the 6-3 Los Angeles Chargers. 8:20 p.m. kickoff at SoFi Stadium on NBC. Cincy looks to shake off a frustrating 1-point loss to the Ravens in Baltimore last Thursday, while LA stays at home is looking for their 4th straight win after a 10-point victory over the visiting Tennessee Titans. 46.5 over under. LA is favored by 1.5.
Yeah, and in my theory of stats do not matter, Goff throws 5 picks, we win. Burrow throws 5 touchdowns, they lose. Going on the road to LA, I love what Harbaugh's doing. I was pretty big on the Bengals at the beginning of this year. Clearly, they're proving me wrong every week. Even getting healthier, I still like the Chargers here. I love what Harbaugh's building there. That's a culture that they've already bought in. I think the Chargers are a dangerous team. I'm going to take the Chargers.
Yeah, this Chargers team is going to start giving Kansas City some problems here in the next few years, I think. This formula is working. They're leaning on the ground game. They have a really stout defense. Cigar Joe's looked good the past 3 weeks, but the Bengals are only 1-2 in that stance. To your point, this is a must-win game, I think, for Cincinnati, but I don't think they're going to get it. I'm going to take the Chargers here to win and cover. I know. I wish this was flexed to fucking Friday morning.
The Friday big noon kickoff.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Friday big noon kickoff is what we need here. Our Monday night football matchup is the 6-4 Houston Texans heading to Jerry World to face off the 3-6 Dallas Cowboys. 8:15 p.m. kickoff at AT&T Stadium on ESPN. Texans are looking to avoid their 3rd straight loss after a 3-point loss at the hands of the Lions in Houston Sunday night, while the Cowboys continue sliding, are looking to avoid their 5th straight loss after a 34-6 defeat against the visiting Philadelphia Eagles. 42.5 over under, which means that the Texans are going to score 42. Spread here is Houston by 7.5.
Yeah, I can't back the Cowboys right now in any situation. Obviously, Houston is going to be pretty pissed off after what happened last week. Thankfully, the sun's not going to be a factor in the window for this one at night. So I do like Houston minus the 7.5.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it more than I need to. Houston winning cover. It's going to be a rough season for us for the rest of the year. Bye week teams this week: Arizona Cardinals, Carolina Panthers, New York Football Giants, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Speaking of the team that might be deadly, if you look at the rest of the Buccaneers schedule, they're playing teams close. I think Tampa Bay's got a chance to win like 5 or 6 of the last 7. They may be a playoff team.
They're a team I do not want to see in the playoffs either.
Yeah. Baker's looking good despite having a lot of talent that's not on that field. Tampa Bay is going to be a tough team if they run into anybody in the playoffs. All right, guys, that is it for our picks for this week. Let's move into locks. Jake, what's your lock for the week?
My luck for the week is the Green Bay Football Packers minus 5.5 going on the road to the Bears.
All right. It's big spread for me, but I'm taking your lines over the Jags. The talent gap on these teams is just egregiously bad. And I think Detroit may make this one ugly early. So I'm locked in on Motor City here. You got?
I gave it away earlier. You cannot have this team as an underdog. The Chiefs plus 112 on a team that they basically routinely make their bitch every time they play. So I will be taking the Chiefs plus 112. I hope Taylor has made her way to Buffalo and we get an upset, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I don't know if that you can call it an upset, but I like the pick. I'm going to stick with you on big games. I'm going to go Pittsburgh Steelers here. It's my dog for the week. Pittsburgh's looking really good right now. They know the formula to slow down Lamar. They have the offense to keep the ball out of his hands. So I'm going for Pittsburgh here to get a big win at home. All right, guys, that is it for us. For the fine citizen, Mr. Jacob Workman over there, this is Reese Downing, TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL Edition Week 11. Please like, share, subscribe. Check out our college podcast. We're getting very close to college football playoffs and conference championships and all that fun stuff. Having some really good shows over there, so please check that out. But that is it for us, and we will see you guys next week.
See you, everyone.